The keepers finally get hands-on with the 3 tiger cubs. The race is on for the Cheetah brothers. And Andrew meets a very young but very ancient New Zealand native.
He's got gorgeous eyes.
In the tiger enclosure, Sumatran Oz is every bit the proud dad. 8 weeks ago, his mate Malik gave birth to 3 extremely rare cubs. She's been keeping them to herself. So far, Sandra and Justine are the only keepers to have seen the 3 stripy miracle babies close up.
She's just such a good mum.
She's in great condition too. She's got nice weight on and her coat's really shiny. Did you see that?
Yep.
The fantastic thing is that we've been able to leave Malik alone a lot of the time because our 2 big dens like this have cub cams in them, in the roof, and we can get all this footage without having to be around, and we can see how they're developing and how they're playing. It's good to see them out and exploring and testing everything and chewing everything.
Yeah.
And their coordination's getting a bit better.
I love the way she just talks to them all the time,
Yeah.
like chuff, 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 chuff.
The keepers haven't touched the cubs yet, but that's all going to change. The babies are going to get their first vaccinations and vet checks.
Before she was very protective, but now we'll go in the morning and we'll see 1 cub here and 1 over here and 1 over there, and she realises that she can't look after all of them, so she's a bit more relaxed.
These are the first tiger cubs ever to be born at Auckland Zoo and the end result of 10 years of planning. The whole world is waiting to see these famous triplets.
We all feel very protective over the cubs. They're almost like they're your own. I mean, right from day one, it was almost like, we're a mum, almost. And we do. And there's so many people around the zoo and around the place who are dying to be in our position to see what's going on with them.
But it's not all perfect in the tiger nursery. There could be a big problem facing one of these special little guys.
Out of the 3 cubs that we had, we did notice right from the start that there was one who was off to the side a little bit and quite a bit smaller. And in recent video footage that we've taken, we did notice that it had a bit of a head tilt off to the side. So when we do plan to do the vaccinations, we'll be getting some vets in that are specialists to actually perhaps take a good look at their eyes and just test their reflexes just to make sure that they are developing normally.
Just like tigers, the tuatara is a master of disguise, blending in with its surroundings. They're quite difficult to spot, but finding their eggs is even harder. That's Keeper Michelle's mission today. Patch has laid some eggs and hidden them somewhere Easter Bunny style, and they need to be found as soon as possible before they get damaged.
Hey, Patch. Hello. Good girl. Come here. For the first time since I've been working with her, she has laid some eggs. She was gravid with 9 or 10 as far as we could tell from her x-ray. And she's dug a burrow and covered it over, so that's a pretty good indication that she's laid those eggs. So we're going to go in today and hopefully excavate all of them out. What I need to do is look for soft soil that's been dug. I think I can feel an egg. This is great to see so far. At least first glance, they seem okay.
For tuatara, having babies is a long, slow process. Females tend to lay eggs only once in 2 years. Then it takes a further 9 months till the eggs hatch, and not all of these will survive. It's no wonder they're endangered.
So what will happen now, we will send these eggs to Victoria University and they'll be incubated down there. So we'll have to wait a little while to see if they are viable and fertile. And if they are, then little baby tuatara will hatch in Wellington, and then we'll be able to get them back here at the zoo and raise them until they're big enough to be released. So that will be really exciting.
Michelle packs up Patch's precious eggs. Meanwhile in Wellington, team leader Andrew checks on a different clutch of eggs from tuatara mum Shorttail. 7 months ago, these eggs were sent to tuatara specialist Sue Keel, who's managed to incubate 3 out of the 7 eggs.
So this is our incubator room.
Wow.
And we've got the 2 incubators here.
Yep.
One is at a cooler temperature, 20 degrees,
Yep.
and the other one over there is at 23 degrees.
The sex of the offspring depends on the temperature of the incubator. A cooler temperature produces females, a bit warmer and out comes a boy. Tuatara are unique to New Zealand and can live to be over 100. This little guy hatched only 3 days ago, so he's brand new. He's the first to be hatched from eggs at Auckland Zoo for over 2 years.
This is
sure you're
very
ready for
cool.
this?
I am very ready. Wow. Look at him. He's incredible.
Should we pick him up and have a closer look?
Yeah, I'd love to see his little egg tooth.
Now these guys are really vigorous and really quick when they start moving, so if you want to just hold him really gently but firmly, because if he runs he'll be gone. So keep a good firm finger on him so he can't get away.
Yeah. He feels very soft, and if you can see how delicate his little toes are, I'm sort of wanting to hold him firmly so I don't drop him, but I don't want to squish him either. This is amazing. It's amazing to see one so young. The really cool thing, tuataras have the most amazing eyes, and even now he's got gorgeous eyes.
You're as bad as me talking about your eyes. I love their eyes.
You can sort of see why tuatara have disappeared off the mainland. Those eggs, since they were laid 7 months ago now, they would have been prone to disturbance or predation, and now once they hatch, you know, this would be a perfect feed for a rat or any of the other introduced pests that we've got on the mainland. So, you know, unfortunately this amazing little guy, if he'd have hatched on mainland New Zealand in the wild, wouldn't stand a chance.
This precious tuatara baby will remain at Victoria University until his 2 sisters hatch. Then they'll all be flown up to Auckland Zoo.
Obviously these 3 are going to be very special. You know, it's going to be really neat over the next few years to be able to rear these guys on, and I'll definitely be looking forward to getting these guys back out into the wild. You can go back in your box, mister.
Yep.
Back at Auckland Zoo, life goes on as usual. But today promises to be a bit different for some of the residents. The 3 little tiger cubs are getting vaccinated, and that means handling them for the first time, very carefully. Specialists have been brought in to check over the cubs, paying particular attention to the smallest member of the family. The 3 babies have been separated from their mum Malik. Cameras record this special moment.
They're quite feisty.
This is
This
the
one in
affected
particular. No, this is the big one, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
He's very feisty.
The cub shows off what tigers are famous for. Fingers are crossed that the smallest of the 3 will pass all the specialists' tests.
I like it.
Oh,
So you don't mind hanging there for...
he's really heavy.
Do you want me to grab this one and do what I need to do with it? You grab
Yep.
another one?
Yep, sounds good.
This is the first time the cubs have been handled. Everyone wants to get the job done quickly so the animals don't get too stressed.
Sorry? Yes.
Oh, all right.
This was 38.
Vet John is an old hand at this and uses the old towel trick to calm the first cub down. But the tiger triplet's mum is a different story.
Malik knows that something's up, and she can sort of now see down the raceway, so she's just a little bit upset and calling to the cubs, and sometimes she calls and it sets them off a little bit, but she can see it.
Sandra and John share the same acute sense of concern over the well-being of the smallest cub.
Well, the 2 extra vets, Richard and Peter, are specialists, and they're here because one of our cubs indicated it had a bit of ataxia, which is a head tilt slightly. So they're just here to have a good look at them, just through their eyes, which is what Peter's doing. And Richard's a neurologist, so he's just looking at their reactions.
If there's anything seriously wrong with the special tiger, it'll be a terrible blow for Sandra. She's been thoroughly involved in every stage of the cubs' short lives so far.
All three of them have distinct personalities. The one that Justine's holding is a little girl, and she's actually a lot calmer than the other two. And this little one, he's the one that we're a bit more worried about the head tilt. And he's actually been the feistiest out of all of them, despite being the smallest, and also quite a bit paler than the others. Oh, I know. Sit quietly, please. And the other one, the biggest, the largest, is just in between the two, really.
Going to give this one its vaccination. Actually, we better have a look and see what sex it is too.
The smallest cub is given a complete warrant of fitness, while vet John gets on with the vaccinating and general checks of the other two.
So we're just going to let one of the cubs go for a walk. So.
The cubs are also having their beautiful blue eyes checked for any problems. As they grow bigger, these will turn a darker colour, just like mum and dad.
Looking at their eyes, everything sort of seems to be okay at the moment. We're just happy that they're all in relatively good health.
I'll hold on to Zane, so...
Malik.
The first little cub is given the all clear and heads back to mum, while John finishes checking the other one.
Bit wet, isn't it?
And cub number 2 passes with flying colours. Special attention is now given to the third patient. This is the cub they're so worried about.
6, 7, 7.
Magic about that.
So far, so good for the little one. The specialist hasn't found anything wrong with him. But the crucial test is watching how he walks back into the den.
Hey you, where you going? So, oh, I can see, I can see.
Underneath rather than over the top, he says.
To the relief of Sandra, the little cub she was concerned about passes all the checks.
The cubs look good, they're well and healthy, they're nice and feisty as you would expect. Everything's normal, they're really good weights. We were sort of estimating they'd be about 3.5, 4 kilos, and they're like 6 and 7 kilos, so they're little monsters. 2 boys and a girl, so that's great. And the one that is the boy looks like Oz, so that's amazing. He does look like Dad, and the little girl looks so much like Malik.
The 3 healthy, vet-approved tiger cubs are soon let back in with mum. Malik will give them her own examination now and keep them out of sight for the rest of the day. As the little big cats mull over their first vet experience, elephants Cashin and Burma are getting ready for a visit from some of Auckland Zoo's other felines.
The big girls, let's go, Cash the hut.
The zoo's 2 biggest ladies are being put indoors so the 2 fastest boys around here can have their very own Olympic event, chasing after a mechanical rabbit. Brothers Osiris and Anubis are ready to impress their friend and keeper Avi.
Cyrus has been quite playful this morning. He's obviously been rolling around in the sand and the dirt, so that's a good sign. And hopefully there'll be more to come. He'll keep up the playfulness and be really focused on the lure, which is what he usually has been. So, alrighty, let's boogie. Let's go, let's go. Come on. Atta boy.
It's only a short walk to the elephant enclosure, but for these supreme sprinters of the animal kingdom, there's no rush. They take their time.
It's like his favourite place to lie down and roll around.
In the wild, Osiris would rely on his eyesight to see his lunch up to 3 miles away. Today, he sniffs out something he definitely won't be hunting.
What do you smell, pup? You smell a bunch of elephants. Come on. Good boy. Atta boy. Good boy. Atta boy, Osie. Come on, sunshine, let's go. I'll go first. You. Good man. Good. Ready?
The mechanical lure is in place. Now the boys are ready to show what they're made of.
Here we go.
Osiris shows no sign of the lameness he used to suffer from as he races around after the fake rabbit.
He's straight into it, which is awesome.
Anubis seems happy to be the spectator for now, letting his brother do all the hard work. It seems even cheetahs feel like blobbing out now and then. Cheetahs have been clocked at 100 kilometres an hour. Usually they can catch prey at half that speed. Osiris's rapid pace soon lands him his prize.
Come off!
Get some meat!
Cheetahs might hold the land speed record, but they can only keep it up for a short time. Then they need to rest.
Here's a good lad.
Oh, it looks like they're really tiring now. It's kind of way too hot. Still intermittently going though, but getting very tired. Nah, that looks like they're done. That's a wrap, I think. They're, yeah, way too tired now. So.
These boys don't do anything they don't feel like doing, and right now they're saying it's time for a bit of a lie down.
That was brilliant. We're all really happy with the result. Always had a great run around, and they're completely out of steam now, which is great to see. What we're going to do is just take them back to their enclosure now and give them something to eat, and they can chill out for the rest of the day.
Do you come and drive around here for us?
Check it out.
And you, fatty boomsticks.
Have you got a piece of meat, Abby? I've got any left.
As Osiris and Anubis stroll back to their enclosure to take the rest of the day off, at the native department, Andrews had a very special delivery. More prehistoric toddlers.
Come here, little girl. So cute. These are our baby tuatara that arrived yesterday, back from Victoria University. So we're just going to catch them up and get some measurements for them, just so we can see how they're growing over the next few months. It's fantastic to have them back up here at the zoo. You know, we got to see the little young guy after he hatched, and now getting to meet his little sisters for the first time. They're amazingly cute. They're zippy, you know, especially with it being this time of year. They're quite quick around, so we have to be fast to grab them. So part of our care for these guys is monitoring their growth, their weight increases, and also their length as they grow. So we'll start taking those records now. So we'll get these guys on the scale, and then we'll take a snout vent and a total length.
Every tuatara has uniquely different markings, which comes in handy for telling one from the other.
Yeah, we can use the little colourings on them at this stage. And there's a bit of size difference between the older boy and the two sisters. It's very cool having these guys back. You know, the tuataras are even pretty rare for all the amazing animals we work with. And after watching them develop in the egg, it's neat to see these guys here now. And it's going to be brilliant watching them the next 3 or 4 years before we release them.
Tuatara can grow up to half a metre long, but these little ones won't get anywhere near that for at least 30 years.
Well, next on the cards for these guys is we'll monitor their growth and just make sure they're eating okay. And as the weather warms up outside in a couple of months' time, we'll move them outside into our enclosures for the next 2 or 3 years, so they can grow up out there. We'll keep them together, these three. 124 millimetres. Crouched. Cool, 127 mils. Thank you. So we get to rear a lot of things on the section here, but I must admit, you know, these guys are pretty cool. one of the favourites.
In 3 or 4 years' time, these special reptiles will be big enough to be put back onto a predator-free island, the very place their mother came from.